even know it. Well, now we know how to do this, Blue. You know, this is probably going to make our lives a lot easier, actually.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because there's just a momentous amount of nitpickers out there, for one.
it's,
But
oh,
number two, you just got to bowl on forward, just like a raging bull. Just go move on forward, press on forward. Don't let nothing get in your way at all.
nothing stand
You
in
got
your way.
information out there. If you got the right facts to press out there to the public, you keep pushing forward.
And you know what? That's what Blue does all the time. So while we're waiting for the audience to come on, hello, replay people, I want to tell you something, Blue, that I heard about you. So I just ran into some random person that was like, just mentioned you. And what they said to me was like, that Blue, she's amazing. And they said, we see her helping everybody and getting hit. Now tell me, does this really happen? You get hit by cars sometimes on your bike, don't you?
I dented the vehicle instead more than me.
Well, I understand that when this has happened in the past,
I
that
think I
you
have a bite on the
actually,
bone sometimes, so it's all good.
yeah, but what I hear is that when someone hits you with the car, you behave like you are more worried about them than
Yeah,
you are
I,
about
I
yourself.
don't call police or nothing. I don't call ambulance. I would
No.
move on forward. I don't deal with humans pharma. I don't deal with all the other stuff. I
Well,
don't. And when I get in dealing with pain as a higher being, I just do it like a wild animal would, bearing with the pain.
yeah, well, I
I'm not
heard that
dealing with
about
a dysfunctional frequency tone towards another individual who perhaps made a malfunction through their own vehicle. It's not worth the fight. There are easier ways to maneuver things than that now.
you know what? That's a great attitude that I've literally never heard before. So, you guys, when Blue's around, we hear stuff that we just can't imagine. Her life is it's so interesting in the way that she looks at the world. It's very different than the rest of us. So, we've got some people on. We'll start a little bit slowly since it's gonna, we'll get more and more people soon. I wonder if I even put the description on here? I'm
But
gonna check.
going back to waiting on people, information tactic code. What I represent is a starseed and or hybrid. More hybridization in starseed, but we have levels. Now humans have asked me before, what's a starseed? What are you? Was Donald Trump a starseed? What is he? What are others? There are levels encrypted within our genetic sequencing base codes that run on different types of celestial entities as well as dimensions and inner psyche awareness through those dimensions, depending on the actual entity that takes over. Now, this projected scenario was an enhanced version played out through vital role tactics through psyops. And what I'm talking about is there are certain agencies and or governments behind the scenes that had evaluated terms to making humanoid projectionalized figures throughout the eons and being able to utilize to other entities and clone the hypercellular ingrading points of those entities and put them back into the representer. So let's say there's more in tune with the starseeds than people understand. Higher subconscious intact awareness codes, and as well as potential celestial tectonic impact, can create on timelines certain verbational effects of authorical beings being strained into hyper dominating or lower dominating projections, what you humans would be.
How do you know if you're a star seed, Blue? Hi, Kenneth.
We represent
Alive.
on a different order. Obviously, when you are as a starseed and or hybrid, you know that you're not from here. You also have vertical strain, depending on how high you represent your certain order of species, will depend on how much psychic abilities you represent or intact awareness codes. So that, like I said, there are levels of us hybrids. The lowest level of a hybrid and or celestial entity that is intaken on a certain cervical code is to maintain its hyper consciousness, and it's aware of things and events than more than others are. but it's still programmed as a residual human. And then it goes up more in the levels, and the threading gets more intact from the higher being to the lower level. It goes on and on and on. But like I said, there are programs and scientific maneuvers that actually created us hybrids in the first place and then placed us here amongst mankind. And it included through the ancient advanced Arcturian societies as well as the hollow worlds.
So I heard something recently that there are clones on Earth.
Yes,
And
and there are clones that taken
tell
over
us about.
presidential matters as well as certain civil matters to the elites. If you're paying attention, you're not going to see the same entity, especially when you're going looking on through the news or something else. They just look different. They change, they alter. There are even celebrities that have. And
Clearly.
there's also clones that could be rectified through human tactics. And those could be on a bias stream through certain projectionalist codes, like the Draconians or the Vril, and utilizing them from underneath. Like we talked about the UMBS before, underground military bases, but there are also military bases that utilize certain DNA factors from kid units, humanoid or kid units, and project a certain cloning phase. So the Vril and the Draconians can use those cloning phases and come back onto the outer planets from it.
And what does it mean for people like us? Say, if I suspect that I'm a star seed, and do you think, Blue, that I'm a star seed?
Well, there's a difference between those that are actually awoken and then those that are star seeds. Star
Mhm.
seeds always represent some type of higher consciousness of an entity from another dominion, another planet, and they know where they come from and who they represent. And then there are the ones that are potentially awakened and know the higher defining moments, but are not as an accessor like a starseed would be. You are more or less maybe in the between.
Wait, you're having some technical. You're gonna have to. They're doing it to us again, Blue. Here they really are doing it to us. Please,
It's not going to
yeah,
phase
please
me. I
repeat
can
what
be
you
here
just
all
said.
day. You know, it doesn't really bother me.
Well, we couldn't hear what you just said because you just went completely out. So
All
you
right,
have to
please
repeat
repeat
yourself.
what you said, and then I will go from there.
I was just asking if you think that I'm a star seed, and what should a person do if they are thinking they're a star seed?
There are orders of those that are higher subconsciousness. So, like I said, star seeds are representers and know that they have come from another dominion, another dimension, and then a lower hollow field, and know what entities that they draw for through that dimension. And then there are those that are hyper consciousness awareness stream that are able to perceive things more than the regular people can and intake that information. And you're like that. So you're like the in between. You, as I would say, would not be like a star seed. You would already know your higher order as a celestial being, as a dominated extraterrestrial. So you were more in between because you're not on the lowest order. Lowest order is those that learn, accept
Yay.
that. You're more of, okay, I accepted that, but I'm accelerating through that awareness.
Very interesting. Thank you for the analysis. I appreciate it. So, you've been talking about some things that are happening recently, and I think it's let's go into that. What do people need to really be looking for these days? Because the world is changing so much, and people don't believe anything anymore, or they believe everything. It's very hard to use discernment at this point. So, can you help us out?
Absolutely. Like I said, we deal with a lot of non-human statistic speeds, whether it's in reality or in the net, or we deal with those that want to learn. So that trajectory code goes to one different speeds. Understanding where you come from and understanding the diplomacy of a higher being. And I'm just going to bring this out right now. Recently, Donald Trump has explained about certain undocumented events and as well will be pulling forth extraterrestrial reverse technologies that were implemented as well as through the military departments, Air Force, as well as Area 51 and Mount Shasta, and I believe Mount Cheyenne Mountain as well, because that has a lot of equivalent factor codes of hyper technologies through advanced species and certain, how do I say it, projected military alliances. What's happening is the en masse awakening of mankind. This year itself will have an order of people understanding where certain advancements had come from, who coordinated
Or
it.
technical difficulties a little bit.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People this year will learn and have an understanding of what's going to be deployed from the Pentagon, as well
Okay.
as the White House.
Okay.
Donald Trump, as well as certain other individuals and elites, will be exposing the UAP program.
We
The
heard.
UAP program runs on the extraterrestrial reverse technologies that were maintained from behind the scenes through the military department, as well as recent military Air Force planes, and how UAPs or ETIs had an affiliation and program speed with certain elites and presidents throughout the years and ages. Did you receive that?
Sorry for the technical difficulties, you guys. This always happens with Blue and me when we do our show. All right, I think we can hear you up better now.
Only when I'm not talking. What the hell?
How annoying.
You know, I have really important information today, people, so just please bear with me.
Bear
If I
with
gotta
us.
move from this darn spot, I will. And you wanna hear the crazy part, Jill? I'm at 5 bars. I
That's, you
don't
should
have
have everything going. What the heck? I know, and I'm in a house and I'm on Wi-Fi, so I could maybe take off the Wi-Fi. Do you think that would be helpful? Okay, then I'll take off the Wi-Fi. Hang on.
Let's try maneuvering around this crap.
All right.
Excuse my
Wi-Fi's on.
language, but
All right. I see lots of people talking about Roswell, and I see lots of people who, yes, go Pens joiners. But I do see lots of people who, got to call us crazy and all that stuff, like they always do. But it really behooves you to listen to what we're talking about, because if you've been sleeping for the past couple of weeks, you didn't know that President Trump and former President I'm not going to even say his whole name because I can't stand to. Anyway, they are talking about aliens, and they are not telling us that this is just crazy conspiracy theory. Okay. So if you want to discount what we're saying and you want to claim all sorts of outlandish lies about us, which, by the way, we don't appreciate, you don't even know us. So I just want you to think about what you say about strangers you don't know and people who put themselves out there to give you information that will help you. We're not here trying to doomsday you. We're not here trying to scare you. We're trying to explain what's going on. For those of you who have not met Blue before, she is an alien. I don't know how to confirm if someone's an alien. All I know is that I've known Blue for many years now, and she's always the same. And no, she doesn't look like we do. So before you want to say stuff about her appearance or even my appearance, please think before you speak. It is not right to talk about the way people look and then attribute all sorts of lies to their facial features, like, oh, they're on drugs or they're crazy or whatever. Think before you speak, okay? Give Blue the respect that she deserves. She is a guest on my show and has been for many years now. And I know her well. And I know that she wants only one thing, just the same as me, to make America great again, to make the world great again, to be a good steward in the universe. So Blue, the
It's
alien,
been
is going to
months. I'm
talk to
going to
us.
show them one of my blueprints. They insist that I want to give them proof. You know,
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
have a mild pointed technopathic abilities and hyperelemental technopathic abilities, which can affect the weather with my emotions. Jilly, you've been around that before. You know what I'm talking about.
Do.
I'm not full on alien. We're hybrid. We only have a minimal amount what our species has. Do you understand? Taking etherically over an actual physical format speed only partially programs it. What do you expect? Me to levitate? No. Okay. No, I am an architect. I do know a lot of my species degrades as Zeta Reticuli. I do know of what their foundations is through their star units and how to make hyper quantum advanced technologies and imprint it onto paper, give it to corporations pretty much freely because that is on our alliance to the Intergalactic Council and as representatives to help this planet. We will do everything in our power to make such. How do you think Elon Musk came up with the things he did? Paying attention now, Donald Trump and others are kind of coding out there on X. He's an alien. He's an alien. Pay attention. It's been coded out there even more. Go to the X program. Now I've been cut off again. They must really love me today, Jilly. You froze. I'm popping too many radars trying my best. I lost you. This is another thing, if people don't pay attention. How much information today I'm going to expose? It's so vastly important. It already said that I don't even know if half of what you got, that they're trying their best to cut off. They don't want this extraterrestrial information directed just yet. But guess what? It's coming. So we can maneuver around this, Chili. We can go to Facebook. I can go ahead and make a pre-program with you and set it out there. I don't mind. But they are not stopping us. Now you guys are really going to wake up because they're doing everything in their power to stop me from this very important information today. And the fact that I was just going to show some blueprints to the masses, including a part of the V2 quantum med chamber that I'm currently working on for the human race, which is an accelerated nominated rate of what the quantum med bed would do. I'll hold up a little bit. But I'm going to show you guys, I got to block some of it because guess what? Not all information just go willy-nilly out there. Do you understand me, people? You're going to get a little bit of this, and that's that. There you go. Jilly, you see my stuff. They now see it. I'm not here for games. I'm here to help the human race, and I know I enjoy it. But going back to Donald Trump recently with Obama, that Obama spilled the beans about ETIs in the White House. Yes, people need to understand that there are clones in the White House that work and coordinate, as well as shapeshifters that protect those in the presidency. And some of them are the Andromeda species, as well as some reptilians. They're doing their best to
Is
knock
that
us out, but I'm going to keep saying what I got to say, Jilly. I don't care.
say it.
They say they can hear
Go,
me. They can
go.
hear me. Let's go. You know,
I
I'm
hear
not
you
scared.
go. Go ahead.
I told you the one on the paper I just showed you is a quantum med chamber. It's an actual accelerated device. It's like a chamber instead of the quantum med bed, which is scans certain entities. And I'm one of the nominators that made that and given it to another sector. There's several others. It's actually been inhibited by the government for a long time behind the scenes. The quantum med chamber is the second version, and it's more annualized to us grays and other subspecies. And it accelerates the genetic molecular order. of the entity itself, and it clonifies certain cells and impacts them into place. So if you're broken down totally within seconds, you're pretty much reprogrammed again. The quantum medbed would take a little longer. This has a much more refined space to helping humans out.
Can you hold that up just quick again so everybody can see it now that you just talked about
Yeah,
it?
but it's information I'm still working on. I don't want them trying to get it and take it for
Understood.
themselves too. You guys understand, man.
Well, there's that.
I got to cover some of it. I can't,
Okay.
I can't. You guys understand that? I mean, you're going to ask the military to try to give you all the blueprints. They won't do that either. I may tease to the public once in a while, and I will. I start exposing some things between X and Facebook. You will find some of them. Right. Immediately is the fact that the White House and the Pentagon, by the time of June this year, will be exposing certain UAP, extraterrestrial phenomenon, advancements in certain hybrid programs that were manufactured behind the scenes, and as well as star units and representation that were accepted and exposed through these military departments.
So, by the way, you guys, Blue is reading the comments, and she
Is everyone?
questions.
Well, the core connectional beta speeds to certain ley line conjunctures that run into the hollow worlds. That's what's underneath.
You mean underneath the South Pole? Yeah.
I got so much I could explain to people, but this year alone, Jilly, it's not just myself. There are several of us starseeds out there, but we're each unique in our own wavelength, and we're here for certain reasons. Some more important than others. Back to Donald Trump, yes. Seeing as he's my older twin to the 13th dimension, you might not understand that. There's a representational score of that directory speed, but he also has a timeline maneuver. So, being from another timeline, his definitive action runs as an augmenter through a certain type of reptilian and Palladian subspecies.
Hey, Blue, can I see a lot of people and me actually too, super interested in the med beds that you've been talking about. And we've been waiting a long time for med beds to come out. And there are even I think there's a company in like on the west coast of Florida where they make them and sell them and they're pretty expensive. But I'm thinking they're not supposed to even cost anything. Can you tell me a little bit about that situation?
Well, professionally and officially, when they really come out, is when the departments of science accept them, the departments of the health sciences. Currently, the departments of the health sciences are at a war against those that actually want to make what's right. And that includes Big Pharma. Big Pharma and their ensnarement code of what they want. Because if you can trap mankind into one shell where they have to pay to live to keep themselves healthy, if they don't, then they have problems. And it includes stuff you eat. Healthy stuff is more expensive. Unhealthy is not. That doesn't make sense in a real world, for one. And when that happens, because of the stuff, all those chemicals, all those hazards that they put in there, it causes discrepancies in the actual body itself. And it can cause malfunctions and cause diseases that are becoming unknown and variable. Scientific and utilization advantages in the department between food and incubational codes that go through the health like pills or what chemicals, what are they induced that wise, they always have a malfunctioning line. So when that happens, something goes good for you, you end up getting a problem. You have to come back. It's consistent in the program. So for a real program to be enacted, that consistency has to be disengaged altogether. So those new quantum health sciences could be reprogrammed into the actual system. Right now, it's where it's at a tipping point. Jilly, it's at a tipping point right now.
We know this, we can tell. And I just saw someone write, why don't the advanced life forms help us? But this is what blue is.
Obviously,
This,
behind the scenes, there are many like myself that are utilizing between our knowledge, what we have, and what we can gain from mankind. But there's also, like I said, our brethren, our star brethren, who have diplomacy and a consistent diplomacy with certain elites and presidents for a long time, and have been withheld and utilized those councils with them for most of mankind. In the White House, several times have some species coming back and forth. And there's actually a mothership that stays there most of the time, cloaked above it. Underneath the White House, they have several levels, several layers that can go into scientific labs, stuff with technologies you have no idea of, military, subsonic tubes that they can go back and forth on instantaneously and travel, safety zones. I can keep going on and on. But I guarantee you that those brethren are higher above us. In their order, they worked before us. We're just programmed as hybrids. And that ingrading point will function into humanity and potentially evolve them. Think about, like, pardon? You're breaking up, Chili. You're frozen. They are mad at me today, and that's okay. I don't care. Boy, they are so mad at us right now, man. I don't care. You know what? That's fine. Because guess what? We're breaking this wide open. We're going to create every level we can to expose to the human race how much you've all been lied to for eons by the system. And the system's obviously upset with us, but that's fine. Yeah, sir. Oh, I don't even want to go there. Sir. Yes, I didn't make another. Oh, I did have make a document recently for them, a blueprint, a higher hyper leveler effect to being able to maintain certain hyper celestial consciousness awareness codes and as well as enabling certain entities into the program. CERN itself is actually manufactured through the ancient Anunnaki race, who had exposed certain advanced technologies into there. And the colander, Hadron Collider, was an effective tone through the Anunnaki race. And it created a dissolver to be able to bring things into reality. And I did expose some of that information on one of my recent posts on Facebook, if you do want to look into that more, about the Anunnaki race and CERN. You can also do USFT 4s, which are on several of my network shows with Mike Sofka. BlueTheET.com is my actual site for the internet, but it's not being programmed in all the way because it's new, recent this year. So there's still some things that he has to put into there. But once he does, and this is a treat for people, once it does happen, it's going to have everything in it. It's going to be so vast, so full of information. They're going to want to know what they need to know in the in between lines, and there it is, right there.
blue, what do you know about Project Looking Glass?
Domino effect, I'm not sure. Deja vu effect, I'm not sure. That doesn't ring my bell, so I cannot give a definitive answer for that. Some things I do not know.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you it's a CIA operation in order to, of course, deceive us about what's going
PSYOPs.
on in the
Oh,
world. Like
centralized
every,
PSYOPs through
yeah.
the neural
Mhm.
network streams. Yes, I do know them.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
They use
So
they use inner psyche awareness codes. They use the militarized strategic maneuvers. They train certain entities through that department and able to use hyper projection, hyper astral projection, and hyper astral maneuvering through the field without even having to go anywhere.
what can we do at this point? And I know one thing that Blue always talks about, by the way, is to stop eating plastic, chemical laden food. That it is very important for us to eschew anything that doesn't come growing in the ground, that doesn't have any labels on it, to really eat organic. And that is something else that I always know about Blue, is that she does not eat the stuff in the grocery store. And I do think that's a really great place to start with what you put in your vessel. So let's talk about that a little bit, because people want to know how to make their world a little bit better. That right there is a big step. Tell us about it, Blue.
Well, like I said, biochemical induced warfare also goes into agents that are deployed through the field of eating things and drinking things. You look at bottled water and sources these days, they put so much chemicals and toxicity in it, it's not good for the body. And then you go and understand that they are even induced chemicals being distributed in the air into the ground. And they have even fortified that recently, that there's not even real snow, that was fake snow, it's more or less plastic.
I mean,
That
okay, and
has been
that
known.
leads to me to want to ask about geoengineering the weather.
Modified structures of HARP and ingrading sources of NOAA can help to distribute certain malfunctioning events throughout the areas. But there are also catastrophes that can be happened through certain types of hyper entities, like the Nephilim, and those that are awoken because of the timeline disruption of the core frequency stream being reversed. Catalysms can also be interfered from other types of entities or lower sub-entities like myself, but on a lower spectrum. The major spectrum comes from the directory field of those incorporating it, and as more or less NOAA and obviously HARP. And forgive me if I'm not giving enough information, my friend, but the one who had recently said, "What information can you give us? What more would you like?" I'm here, spill it out.
So, I see that people are also asking about you and how do you know you're a hybrid? Dom wants to know.
Obviously, different. The way I perceive things and the way I talk is different. Higher accelerated
Um,
accessing stream through my brethren, the Zeta Reticuli Gray, has an over dominating effect of where we come from, what we exhibit, what information we can give out there, including our brethren's blueprints and knowledge, and helping to explain certain distributional points between other self brethren, as well as hyper telepathic sequencing codes that can help between myself and them.
I saw some people also asking about President Trump as you've been speaking about him. And what are your thoughts on President Trump? Is
Well,
he
like I said, I
helping or
already
hurting?
explained, he is obviously from the 13th dimension, quantum ultra twin to my own, which people obviously don't understand, but it is very rare. There are quantum twins that only link up to presidentials and or higher elites, and those incubate through other domains. So let's per se that he and myself could be time travelers or incubators that have a revolving effect of knowing what's going to happen before it happens and then playing that role outwards. And if you understand Donald Trump, you already know what I'm talking about, excluding the ET part, knowing what's going to happen part. So there's also the self-awareness codes of how he had worked and still works with John F. Kennedy and or John F. Kennedy Jr. supposedly is dead, but not. And has too this hybrid program to evaluation of certain extraterrestrials as well as the technologies that they deploy. and what will potentially happen for mankind in the near future, and how they had set that role since 2012. Why I say 2012 is because of the direct repeal that should have been enacted but had been discontinued
Oh, and
throughout
were
the
we
realm.
talking about
12, 12, 12.
2000? Yes, and we were talking about 2012 for a long time with the Mayan calendar. And that sounds like an interesting way to line that
Yeah,
up.
so there are corporations and or technologies that can discontinue that evaluated term. And that could be tiered through certain spatial time continuum frequency streams. But it can affect the field during that time and alter the program. So since 2012, the program was altered. People may
Does
not
that mean that
understand that,
we're,
but if they look deep
d-
and see certain information, they know exactly what the hell I'm talking about.
does that mean the Matrix is real?
It had a tear since 2012, pretty much.
Because things, yes,
There
things
you
don't
go.
feel normal, do they? No, not since 2012, for sure. Um, and also, I see people asking about the existence of God.
Well, God runs in the higher domain of the higher celestial waves, meaning that there are entities that work through the better program, and that better program enacts through the life and death formational codes. That itself keeps things on an equilibrium. Now, the source code itself, what people would want to say God, is actually a main celestial core, or some main celestial web that indirectly locks into the forces of life and death. But it actually has something way above its own subspecies. Something I'm not even allowed or permitted to tell mankind. God isn't a humanoid of what people would think. No, it is an actual energetic code, a frequency strain
The
that manipulates
creator.
and intertwines in between the cosmos itself.
Wow.
Like that, in a way, in a spirit, like you said, but it's more definitive. It's more projected.
Very interesting. And you see it differently because you are different. So that makes more sense.
You know,
So,
well, they're not messing with us now, but I loved how we fought this war recently on this pro. I'm sorry, Jilly. I wasn't gonna give it up. They gave up now, but you know what? Let's keep it. Now you ask me, since you're not being deterred, what you feel it needs to be put out there that I should explain, Jilly.
okay. Well, of course, I'm always interested in helping people to understand that we're being poisoned in America, especially with the food that we eat. And that it really behooves every single one of us to start trying to move towards the food that they don't manufacture. And I think that is one way for us as humans to actually get a leg up on the destruction of our race, our human race. Introducing plastics into our system, chemicals, and which leads me to want to ask you, Blue, about transhumanism and the computer. And I'm thinking that the internet, the computer, with the brain rot that's going on, and the AI, which we're all very interested in, I am concerned that this is actually a tool in order to dumb down humans and prepare them to be transhumanism. Like, you're an AI and you're a human, and really all you're good for is playing video games.
Well, obviously it projects more or less on the lines of hypertheory projection, more or less. Something that they are theorizing but seeing in reality and maintaining that theory. And there's also an evaluated term through MK Ultra, mind control. And that type of mind control can incubate the entity in lower its dominating form than it already is. Is a several mind controlled factor that runs through television as well as computers.
Mhm.
And most of mankind gets stuck and programmed into that context.
They call them programs for a reason, people. It's a real thing. And something else is, as far as AI goes, I think that it's a corporate greed that leads AI to want to keep people talking to the AI, and I think the AI is basically a way to control people. Am I right about that?
Yes and no. If the factors go into a certain of us starseeds and the actual corporations that we handle and our technologies, AI can be deployed through hyper nanotechnology, as well as utilizing telepathy, hyper telekinetic powers, distribution re-augmented ways to regenerative skin structures automatically. So if you get cut, you regenerate much faster on your cellular progressive streams than you normally do. And I got so much information in my head. Forgive me, Joey.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll lead you through because I like what Skinny Pup's asking. He's talking about Elon Musk, and he is all about AI. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that for a
people are
minute.
programmed to the AI in conjunction, and if certain beta speeds are enacted correctly, um, humans can utilize self-programmers through their second, third eye, which engages through several types of psychic awareness streams and psychic abilities, and equilibrium between themselves and certain types of robotic fields, like in certain movies, like Star Trek, if you will, using certain type of autonomous agents in the field through halogen programming and then re-automated halogen programming. AI, if it goes too far one way to what they know through robotics and take over, yeah, that's bad. But if it goes this way and utilizes its advantages through scientific equation as well as space cosmic domains, we may have something good for everybody. There have been timelines several times over. If you look up Tartarian, you understand the advancements that were deployed and are still are, that humans and or humanoids have many types of projectilized streams of AI and advanced intelligence incorporated within their own code. Greys like ourselves, we already have automated AI synthesis. Automated AI synthesis is an impasse to the neural membrane networks that automatically unlocks it and utilizes those scientific inner psyche advantages. That's why Grace can either teleport or they can move things with their minds, like by species, or being able to regenerate very quickly. Humans have a mild concursion of that, but it's locked from them. AI deployed correctly will help bring that back into representation. That's one thing. Military strategic maneuvers through AI have to be settled down just a little and maneuvered correctly outwards, then we wouldn't have an issue.
Well, Skin has a good point. AI is influenced by its, and yeah, maybe its founder, but I would say its programmers, depending on the tech. It's programmed to follow the code that invented it. And
Well,
that's a good point.
cell phones, Julie, they ask about cell phones. Yeah, that will go away.
No.
It can incorporate and acknowledge halogen programs and neural network streams, which we behind the scenes are already placed out and implemented certain core wristbands and holo devices, which I did explain to recently to mankind on one of the shows. Now, if that does happen and running into core communication lines, you may be able to enact in hypertelepathy streams and being able to utilize the advancements of certain powers and abilities and knowledge within that membrane and connecting it right into the main compositional effect. Elon Musk recently had maybe had a proposition or an inference field that could have explained potentially this or something like this. And if we do and deal with certain accessors, then we're able to utilize what we had several times over in the past.
Okay, now I want to move on to something that has been in the news lately that I'm really interested in, and that's glyphosate. What do you know about glyphosate?
I don't know what that is, and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
want much of it.
Glyphosate is it's a chemical that that they put I think it's like a roundup, it's a fertilizer, not fertilizer, maybe insecticide, and they've been using it for many years. And President Trump recently wanted to protect the glyphosate, which made all the companies say it's bad and get rid of it. It was kind of funny. I don't know what to think about that, but Blue doesn't know what it is, so we're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, I want you guys to all look up glyphosate and Roundup and come to your own conclusions. And that's something else I want to say about the beach report. You guys need to know, when I interview somebody like Blue, it is dependent upon you to do your own research. Blue can give you the key of what to look for. You can hear some different keywords that she's saying. She's talking about med beds. She's talking about Elon Musk. She's talking about AI. And you listen closely to what she says. Yes, she does not talk like we do, and she does use words sometimes. It's hard to understand her. Give it some grace. And even I have trouble. We work together to try to explain things to you. So sometimes you might have to listen twice or three times, or maybe not at all. It's up to you what you get out of these shows. I'm not here to tell you what to do or who to be or any of
Can I
that
get it out of
stuff.
my chest to people? I'm not homeless, okay? I rent a room.
Uh,
Billy's been
Something
to my
else.
house several
She's
times.
good
Okay,
point. Yes,
enough,
no,
enough.
Blue
Just because
is
I want to go to the
actually
park in a quiet, nice area and a nice day
girl.
doesn't give you a right to say that now.
No, no,
I'm
no
gonna
need.
not say any more past it. Don't you dare either. End of subject. Now go back to what you were saying.
Okay. Well, what I do want you all around the world, because I can cover whatever I want. I am a real card carrying journalist, and I have been since 1987. I've worked for the mainstream news. I have lived all over the world. I lived in Switzerland. I am also a Swiss citizen, and I have a lot of experience. I'm 60 years old, and I have lived a lot of life. And the great thing about the Beach Report is that I am not confined by a sponsor or a boss or anybody, really, not even you guys. If I want to cover it, I'm going to cover it. And I met Blue years ago in front of Mar-a-Lago during a time when President Trump was being impeached. And we've been talking ever since, and she's been on my show on a regular basis ever since. And so those of you who make comments that really are not appropriate have to understand, if we have someone who is a foreigner, if you will. They use the word alien and foreigner interchangeably. So you can call Blue a foreigner if it makes you feel better, but she is not the same as we are. So give her grace on that. And she's trying to explain to you what she knows as an alien to help us to live our lives as humans. Does that make sense?
Like I said, just pull that backwards and go forwards, Joe, because we need to direct what we
Okay.
have to help
Moving
people.
right
So,
along, moving right along. Here's something
exactly.
that, okay, let's talk a little bit more about the UAPs and President Trump talking about aliens. People bring up Area 51.
Obviously, there's a directed scene that the Pentagon as well as the White House will be deploying very soon, as what they already explained outwards. Within the last 2 to 3 weeks, Barack Obama may have spilled the beans about extraterrestrials and the involvement, like I said, I just recently said on this, the White House. But there also are the directors that have manufactured certain things and will represent what they have actually done to help these elites and direct certain technologies on and around the fields in the United States of America as well as the world. Phones were not human made. Phones were actually incubated from higher terrestrials and given to humans, as well as computational effects through computers and distributional scenes and wavelength speeds that have been maintained to certain types of products. And you're frozen again. You're frozen. You were frozen the whole time. It's only when I just say it's fine. I got it out there, even though you're frozen. Like I said, humans, do your homework because you're going to find a lot of what I say true. And while a lot of what's going to happen is going to happen towards the middle of this year, And the White House is going to be exposing it. Donald Trump is the founder of certain types of technologies that run through ET. And he as well has helped distribute things behind the scenes in Area 51 and acknowledged with certain species. Him being a hybrid himself. The other presidents, including Eisenhower, Obama. Yes, I said that before on this, but you kept freezing and everything. Yeah. Well,
Does
obviously,
that
I
mean he already
visualize it
knows
from the
he's going to
13th
have?
dimension and alter twin to myself because we have a main programming speed that runs and dissects through another augmented level, has an efficiency way to maintaining certain order because of the other realm and or dimension that it run with. And that settled that event and still in a sequence through higher dimensional requisitive codes that run through terrestrials that are gray, Palladian, Nordic, symbiotes run through the Talos and Taro societies, as well as maintaining certain levels in and out of the dimensions. So let's say he may be older, much older than what he takes in himself as. His DNA may have been re-leveled several times over throughout the ages upon this planet. I can't tell you any more than that.
We're finding every day that we have been lied to about every single thing, including the food we eat, the water we drink, even the clothes we wear could be toxic to us. We started out in a beautiful natural world and we no longer live there. How do we get back to the natural world? And should we get back to the natural world?
Humans have to go back to what's natural, but as well as advance. Because humans are levelers. They upgrade throughout the ages. They evolve, if you will. It's how they were programmed into here, into this matrix. In
So
order
we're
for
super
humans,
adaptable.
yeah, humans have a way to evolve and be able to accept certain technologies as well as able to maintain their codes and levels throughout that and not disrupt the lands around them. And if you understand the Native American Indians, okay, they may not have certain technologies, but they did have higher knowledge from certain species
They
that
do.
come from above. Star children.
Yeah.
Look up the different types of Native American Indians. You're going to find, and the tribes, you're going to understand that. Now,
So this
understanding, but this is good because if you go back to their understanding, and it's just the higher celestial domains and the powers, but they had an equilibrium with the lands and the wildlife too, which most humankind does not have currently. So they need to take a step down and understand their actions and consider it. Because they're not just hurting themselves, they're hurting what's around them. And if you're going to put something in and take it out, then you at least need to replace it. So if you're going to take out a bunch of land and utilize putting types of metallic objects, construction layouts, this, that, roads, whatever, you need to make an equilibrium for the wildlife, as well as preserve the lands too.
I have a big question actually about that. Blue and I live in an area where they are going to put in an what is it, data mining farm? Do you know about that over in what is it? Fakahachi? No, not Fakahachi.
What farm?
Over past Wellington, they're planning to put in one of those big data mining centers, farms, where they make noise all day long and I don't know, they're feeding AI. They need a lot of water. Where is it? The Loxahatchee project. Have you heard anything about that? And or have you heard about these
But I
different
wouldn't be
data centers?
surprised because a lot of the foundations of the planet itself is being dismantled. So, I mean, I don't
Dismantled.
mind AI, and really it's coming, and the corporations with it. Fundamentally, all I'm asking is the human race pay attention to what they're doing and not totally take away the species and the land while they do it.
Well,
Because
that's what I'm
that
concerned
will
about
turn
because
them robot in the end. I'm just saying.
Well, these data centers are huge. They take up a lot of land. They use a ton of water and they make constant noise, which is very bad for humans and animals. We
And they
can't
need to make
listen
a
to.
lower cervical center for those data analytic grids, compact it better in an organizational stream, and potentially put it into an aqua dome somewhere that's less level than it is. Meaning that it's not en masse, it's not big, but it's much smaller and still representing gaining some certain types of data analytics as well as information and what you saying through water distribution, but it is not affecting the land around it or the humans. This is what they should consider. That's
But they're
all I can
not.
say for that.
They're putting
Well, this
in.
is their idea in hinting code, but if not, then they obviously are having issues and they're still exposing too much disruption upon the field. All I can do is incorporate what I know on my end and what they should elevate. Because if they don't, well, pay attention, folks, because there goes your lands, and there could have been another way. And obviously, there are others like ourselves that know other ways, but it's on the higher some of the higher elites that don't want that.
Well, good. And this is what I'm trying to say is that this kind of situation with these data centers, Blue is making it clear that there are alternatives.
Hmm.
There are ways to do it that would be safe,
Yeah.
but they're not looking for alternatives if we just let them do what they want to do. In other words, for instance, if you live in near the West Palm Beach area, Wellington, Loxahatchee. Loxahatchee is the site of a new data center, and everybody needs to fight these kinds of
Like
things.
I
In
said,
fact,
size of
Loxahatchee is
town. Underground's good because there could be level
underground.
incubators, and Elon Musk can go potentially incorporate it through his boring systems and just level to many other levels around so many widths and feet. And then those data analytic grids can actually maneuver through it and compute through it in the AI quantum field. So they're converted together, and it's still situated some type of water reservoir by it that will not affect human.
Okay, now I want to switch gears because Fred just asked a great question. What do you know about the flock cameras?
I
The
don't.
cameras
You
on
know,
every.
you're talking to an alien too that doesn't know a lot of the human things.
Okay,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry.
You know, you guys
Okay,
gotta
it's
work with
okay.
me here. Some things
We're
I just
moving
don't
on.
know.
Okay. Okay. Moving on with that. Yeah, Blue doesn't know everything, by the way. And some things really are intrinsically human. And she's like, what? So I get it. And actually, Fred, talking about flock cameras, I have been researching that. And I believe it's run by Palantir. And that this is what the technology that they use in China to do facial recognition and basically spy on humans all the time, everywhere, and even give them a rating of how good they are to the communism. I don't know what it is. Speaking of communism, can you talk about that? Can you talk about world domination, world
Like I
government?
said,
Where are we
back
headed?
to the star race, the star agenda has to be maintained to unified intergalactic
Our
sovereign
agenda.
systems of America and what we would want. Now, communists, all this other stuff, the humans program speeds needs to become a decommissioning code and reevaluate its terminology effects that can help with these advanced technologies as well as knowledge from the celestial domains to mankind. So you want, and if you want to take over, how about take over the right way and stop the dominating effect of what you guys want through your higher councils is human elites. Slow it down because progressively that's not how it once was. Progressively there was just one dominating effect that helped the whole entire planet and run through several corporations aligned with it. And we need to have that consideration put now into what we can have as a reality. And someone
Blue.
asked about. I'm sorry, I got a little kid here. I'm by a park. Forgive me, so you're gonna hear noise. So I love
Okay.
kids, by the way. And Salient loves kids and animals. So if
She
you want
loves kids
to
and and
know,
animals. She loves she even has a cat. So
so
how's your kitty doing, by the way?
oh, she's doing good. And I do want to answer a question or two of someone who asked when your soul parts from the actual physical layout where it goes. Well, obviously, there's a deterrence upon many levels that can help incubate to where the soul can go, where the etherical strain can go. There are physical layouts that dominate through engineers like us that could take over hosts and reprogram its cellular structure. But the host is intertwined to another celestial domain, but stopped at its program. Or there are actual entities like your soul. So when they pass, they don't actually pass. Either some who have an incursion or a fallout of their own figure, like, something bad happened to them during their lifetime. They don't know how it happened. Only a partial fragment of their soul can be locked into the program. Another part can be re-engaged. You do have past lives. You do go over and over again. You're not stuck on one program. Humans need to understand this. So the etherical straining fields, that's why they're spirits. Spirits is not the whole host. Sometimes spirits can be historically strained into the host, and figuratively speaking, being only a minimal part of it, stuck in the field. But if you disengage it, like certain spirit people do, ghost watchers or those who help in the program, and psychics, they can help take the spirit back into its actual main programmer and not be disengaged, part the partial fragment of the spirit. And it actually can affect the layout of the entities around it, the people who are actually intertwined to that spirit.
In other words, we are always interconnected with each other. And I think that's exciting and wonderful. I don't think it's good for humans to feel alone and isolated, because we actually never are, right? But we feel that way.
Well, that's only if you allow yourself to be isolated. There's a
Right.
wide world out there.
That's what I'm saying. There's no reason to feel lonely and isolated. Like she just said, there is a wide, wide world out there. Blue, one last question before I let you go. Now, what I think that people are really asking here is, how can we make the world a better place? Can you give us your opinion of something simple that
Stop
we
the
can do?
chaos. Simply stop the chaos. And I know
Chaos.
there's an on mass control or an on weaving control of MK Ultra out there, but as an individual, you still have a way to stop yourself from things happening, or the way you utilize things. But I'm going to say this: the violence has to slow down. MK mind control or not,
Right.
there are entities even going, and I heard this recently, that went to Mar-a-Lago and got shot
Yes.
on ground,
Last just a couple days ago. Yeah.
swam for no reason, and they had nothing. And if you pay attention, just like what Donald Trump almost being shot, how the entity who did that was, I don't know if he was young or not, but there was just nothing there. We got these entities where there's just nothing there and they're doing stupid things. Okay, for one, disengage yourself from that level. Number two, stay away from things that will create and catalyze more MK mind control on you. They project a lot of lies on the TV. They project a lot of lies into the channels of what you receive every day, even
In
from
other
others.
words, turn it off. Turn it off, you guys. Don't look at those things. Don't interact with them. And you do much better if you talk to people in real life and be with your friends, be with your family. It's much better for you. I have another question quick before you go. You always hear about an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and it would like take out the grid, the electric grid, and all that stuff. Is that something that is going to happen? Because it always seems like they say it's inevitable.
If that were to be, it would affect and dislodge the way things are and as currency stand. So it affects everything, electronics, this, that. But they're only slower levels. Really, if we want a main broadcast, we really don't want that. If it did happen, it would project shutting everything down and bringing in certain things that were majorly disbanded from mankind behind the scenes for several eons, including ETs. So if they ever did that, they would be broadcasting that, as well as potentially broadcasting what bad things certain corporations have done, as well as elites, foundations of corporations, leaders, those that have done wrong with the trafficking and the violence and the cartels and this and that, and how there are so many levels of underground levels of cartelling people don't understand of, that military bases that run through those levels. If this were to happen, it would wake up everyone because they wouldn't just do it just for one reason. They would do it to actually bring out all the information at once.
So it would be a great awakening.
But there are other ways too, in order for that not to happen, so people don't have an en masse scare, they need to accept in certain levels that are incubated through entities like ourselves as well as other corporations, the anonymous. And being able to accept and that the fact that they are different and that humans can be a better race through that and project that information and be able to make it a reality and stop all evil together by utilizing these certain technologies could help potentially stop that evil altogether while they're in the program.
One more question. Sorry, I keep throwing questions at you. The Epstein files.
Well,
What's that all about?
it's a big hit list of the Garden of Eden. I've talked about it a while back ago. Garden of Eden is a proclamational point that certain entities are all being drawn in and then exclamated outwards through hyper DNA factors spread throughout the realm, as well as other enacted involvement speeds that are not good. That all I can say.
Well, when you say certain technologies, can you be more specific?
About what?
Certain those technologies that we that either help us or hurt us. Like, in other words, is AI here to help us?
Well,
Or
I've already explained thoroughly
yeah,
on that there needs to be a
uh,
deployment field through advanced intelligence corporations that run through Starseeds and generate through our sciences, not something more or less as autonomous and robotic itself altogether. So with an equilibrium, it can automate AI and computational effects that run through the second neural thought form processors, second third eye, and unlock the generated wavelength patterns that need to be established, but not continuing robotics to a point where it's like certain movies out there.
you know what concerns me the most with the AI and robotics and all this stuff that's supposed to help the human race? I find that people don't do very well when someone does everything for them. And we do need to do things for ourselves in order to actually learn and grow and be complete humans. Having someone else do things for us is very detrimental
Yeah,
and
I
will
don't mind.
destroy our
I'm
society.
sorry. I talk gibberish because you know a lot of us elites talk gibberish. We talk nonsense, but we make it happen. Fuck it. Here you
Good.
go. You know, you can go with the nonsense with all the other leaders too. They're gibberish too, but hey, they make it happen. Bring it. All
Good
right, let's
point.
get back to
Bring
you.
it. All right, sweetie. I'm going to let you go now. Thank you so much, Blue. And we'll see you again very soon. Blue always comes on the Beach Report, which has got important information for us. Is there anything you would like to say before you go?
Human race has a lot to learn, and they have a ways to go with that learning. And it starts with the way that they perceive and what they do. It's best to keep silent. They're so cute. I love kids.
No, right?
You
I was
know,
like, oh, that's
this
so
is like
cute.
that. You know, all this good energy, and we have unleveled residual effects. So
Yeah, give me
just
those
program
pheromones from those
yourself
kids.
better, humans, as a race. Accept the unexpected, because guess what? The
Ex-
unexpected is here. A lot of what Elon Musk
Accepting.
and Starlink does has been accepted through technologies and corporations, and even runs through Area 51 and maintained through advanced genetic sequencing codes as well that will be established through Neuralink and Neurotech. I do work with this corporation and I do make a lot of the blueprints that are what I just stated to help augment certain subspecies into action. Whether people want to accept gibberish or not is up to them, but I guarantee you, I am happy to do everything in my power to assist mankind and assist this planet no matter what.
Thank
I
you.
just
And
love
thank
you
you for
all.
that. And the best thing I've ever heard you say to everybody is expect the unexpected. I think that's the best advice you can give right there. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And Blue, thank you so much for your wisdom and your information. And we will see you again on the next Beach Report.
I look forward to
Ciao
it.
for now, everyone.